Welcome back. Fighting ISIS, stamping out extremism at its roots through education. That is the aim of an initiative in Jordan spearheaded by Queen Rania. I caught up with her in Davos this past week to talk about that and more. Here's what she said.
Our population is predominantly young. They are educated and they're connected, so they're exposed to the world. They know what they want, and they want better. Most of them predominantly are completely against extremism and violence. What they do want are jobs, opportunity. They want a good education. They want to participate and have a say. They want a good life for their kids. And so I think it's time for us to, everybody's so frustrated with with the violence and the conflict, and it's time to have a new kind of dialogue, both inside the Middle East and toward the Middle East. A dialogue where we measure success by closing the human dignity deficit in the Middle East, where we measure winning by the number of jobs created, the number of opportunities of innovative productive innovations, and not just by political influence. And so I really think it's time for us to get off of this crisis and conflict arc that we've been on for a long time. And I think the people in the Middle East are looking forward to that. Now, we've seen how countries and whole economies are built on sound ideas. We've also seen how a single ideology can destroy countries. And we've come a long way in defeating ISIS, and I'm very happy about that. But I don't necessarily feel much safer, because the fertile ground of instability and hopelessness that breeds these kinds of groups is still unfortunately there. And we are very happy that, in the global counterterrorism war, the United States has been a very important player, and they've helped us defeat ISIS. But now is not the time to disengage from the Middle East, because these kinds of groups can always sort of regroup and reinvigorate. So as we are focusing on fighting the bad guys, we really need to be focusing on rebuilding and providing hope, and also empowering the good players in the Middle East. The people who are trying to do the right thing, trying to open their countries, to reform, to give opportunity, and to provide a model for the rest of the region that other countries can look at and say, well, we want to emulate that model. So,
and you have, in fact, launched a new learning program.
Absolutely. Like, for example, we launched a program called Idrak, which is an online learning platform for adults in the Middle East. We have over 1.5 learners who are using the platform, and now we're trying to expand it so that we can reach children all the way from kindergarten to grade 12. And so that will give children, even in Yemen or in Syria, who don't have access to schools, it'll give them an opportunity to catch up and to have access to world-class learning. And hopefully that will change the trajectory and tip the scales in our region towards just a more hopeful future.
Because when you're talking about people in this young age, it's either one way or the other. I mean, they learn extremism as a young person, or they learn the other way, absolutely. Education.
And if we wait, then you have generations of children who are growing up in darkness and left susceptible to extremist thought. A child denied an education isn't just a tragedy for that child, it leaves the rest of us vulnerable. And if we think that the Middle East is a dangerous place today, imagine what it's going to look like when these children come of age. So it's absolutely important for us to really intervene and give them the opportunities that they deserve, and protect ourselves and make sure that our future is a better place.
A moment ago you mentioned ISIS dissipating in some way. Do you feel that it's gotten better in that regard in the Middle East?
Like I said, I think ISIS now is on the run, so their ability to cause the havoc that they've caused over the last few years has been undermined. But I won't rest easy until I've removed the atmosphere that allows for groups like that to emerge. Because although they may be getting weaker in our part of the world, we're seeing them getting stronger in countries like Africa and in certain places in Europe and Asia. So it's the ideology that needs to be defeated.
My thanks to Her Majesty Queen Rania.